And just a copy of the current year-to-date.
And we're going to see that, I think, on Monday.
Yeah, I want a copy for my vote, please.
Yep.
Thank you.
Now, I know many of us, like I said, got this book last night for the first time. We haven't had a lot of time to review it. We do have workshops scheduled, 3 workshops scheduled. What's your pleasure as far as the remainder of this evening? Do we have any additional specific questions, or do we want to adjourn and Mr. Kemp?
Well, I have a specific question, and it has to do basically with the all-day kindergarten. Now, as much as you're proposing the changes that you've indicated here, at the end of the day, where does it take us system-wide with regard to all-day?
It would give all-day kindergarten to all of the kindergarten children at Northeast School and at Maple Street School.
And the other 3?
The other 3, next year I would be looking to do Center Road School. And then that would be an increase of 2 teachers. And then the following year do Lake Street and Skinner Road School. And we certainly can step that up and do them all next year as well.
Well, the conventional wisdom seems to be that the implementation of Common Core to attempt to do that in the existing hours available depends on who you're talking to, next to impossible in a half-day scenario. So how are we going to implement Common Core in kindergarten if they're not in school in the available hours to do it? So we need to see what would it take to implement sooner than 2 years out in the other locations. I don't know what those numbers are. Or what the physical implications are, whether we have, as you alluded to, Art, on the card, whether or not we might have the available classrooms in those buildings or not, or it would be Art on the card or some combination thereof. I don't know. But I think we need to see that, and I think the town needs to see it, because in as much as we need to move out of the 30, we don't want to wait a couple of years to do it. And so we need to step up as a town and see what dollar figures we're talking about.
Sorry,
Those numbers.
so Ms. Gold's hand up after Mr. Kemp. Before you have a question?
Are you all done? My question has to do with school security. Other than the security guard, addition of a security guard for the high school, I couldn't really pick out anything in here that had to do with increased surveillance or technology to correct any security problems we have in any of the schools, just to beef up our situation.
And we're going to be giving you a full report on that on Monday evening. But we were looking at capital non-recurring funds for that. The budget was well underway at this point, and everything that we would be looking at would be one-time expenses that would be capital expenses. So whether it's a panic button or an enclosure, we have 3 schools that people have direct access from the outside door into wherever they want to go. And so looking at another set of doors or a video camera that shows where people go once they get in the building. And those are the kinds of things that we've been talking about with the police chief and the fire marshal. And so we would be looking at creating one security package and asking the board to request capital non-recurring funds for that, rather than try to guess at this point what would be the best course of action and just put little pieces here and there in the budget. We thought we would be very purposeful and share a plan with the board going forward and how we can increase security in our schools, and then ask that for from capital non-recurring, because it would be all capital.
Thank you.
Ms. Bush?
I agree with Mr. Kemp. that the Common Core is set up for a full-day kindergarten program. And I too would like to see it sooner than 2 more years out from next year. And I would like to see what it would look like with it being implemented this year priority, or this next year priority, or at the absolute farthest out, you know, the 2013-14 school year. Or, excuse me, 14-15, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. But I think, and I felt the board had that as a really high priority. So
I'll certainly add that.
I would like to see what it would look like and where we possibly could do. And I know that when other schools have implemented the full-day program, there was a substantial savings in the bus. So, and that took a huge chunk out of the implementation of that. So I would really like to see that. I do not know how a kindergarten teacher can implement the full Common Core without a full-day program. I'll have that for you.
Ms. Arden?
To that subject too, I alluded to it in my first comments, but I'd like to check the minutes of the 11/26/12 meeting, because my understanding was that we weren't going to extend the day to support students. We were going to extend the day to increase learning time, teaching time, and that we weren't going to phase in all-day kindergarten. I expected to see full-day kindergarten for all kindergartners in this budget, and I expected to see increased learning time for every student across the school. So if you wouldn't mind checking the minutes from that meeting where those motions were made, I don't think this budget represents, in my opinion, what the board's intention was. 11/26/12.
Mr. Kevin?
The all-day kindergarten piece, I think we will deal with, as I requested, the extended year. I'm not sure how you're going to do that, because as far as I can tell, we would have to bargain the impact, and I don't know that that impact can be easily clarified at this point to the extent that it could be included in this budget. Now, I'd like to have an idea of just to what extent the extension of the year would be, in the opinion of the staff, and then we would do our best to try to put some numbers to it. But I don't think you can actually budget that figure, because bargaining takes a while with 7 collective bargaining units, and we're not even in the negotiations phase with the largest bargaining unit at this time. So that would be difficult, but I think we need to see something more than we have this evening. You've touched on extending, but you haven't gone as far as I think we would like you to attempt to share with us. I don't think it will be cheap either. I'm not, and maybe you were reluctant to throw a number higher than 7% out there, which is what you're presenting here this evening. So having said that, I'd just like to bring the board's attention to page 7 of 7 in the budget summary, because in the final line where you're requesting 51 million, and the increase is 7.7% over the prior year's approved budget, we can look back 3 years and see that we actually spent more money than we approved in last year's budget. So it tells me that we severely constrained our spending over a number of years recently, and so this percent is coming to us as a result of that constraint. I mean, we spent $48,400,000 in 2010 and 11, which is more than what we budgeted for last year. So I think the public needs to see that comparison as well. And as we request things like all-day kindergarten and extended year, they need to take that into context.
Thank you, Mr. Kemp. Ms. Arden, I just want to respond to your request on the minutes of the 26th of November. I'm looking at the motion. The motion stated that to include in the budget the opportunity to support extending the school day to support at-risk students and extending opportunities to continue learning opportunities for at-risk students throughout the summer months. That's verbatim, and that was the motion made by you and seconded by Mr. Percy. That's from our minutes of 11/26. So I believe that does cover what we did do with the budget. So I'm reading that from our website, from the minutes on our website. Now we're approved. Ms. Golich.
Was there not a later motion that I made to remove the words at risk?
That motion had passed unanimously. Do we... At risk. Yes, there was a second motion to pass this. And the original motion to remove the words at risk, seconded by Mr. Kemp, and that also was passed unanimously. That's correct.
So this budget doesn't represent the motion?
The other, because I didn't see that.
Okay.
Ms. Harden.
So can the changes be made to this budget to represent the motion?
The superintendent's going to bring back the information requested at our first budget workshop. Mr. Percy.
I'm just going to throw it out there that I have, we received this yesterday. I haven't really had a chance to dive into it. I'd like more time. So, we're throwing questions out tonight that are getting answered, but a lot of those questions can be answered by going to those white pages in the back of each school. So I think we need to do our job and bring it back next week.
A motion to adjourn is in order if you would.
Yeah, before-
Public comment is on the agenda.
A motion to close down and discussion. That we can go to the second phase.
So
What's the motion?
The motion is to end discussion on this and go to public comment. Mr. Nicholson? Seconding that motion. Any debate on that motion? Seeing none, all in favor by show of hands? It's unanimous. We're going to go to public comment.